In this video clip, we're going to follow on from the risk management section that we talked about in the last clip, and we're going to look at the core competencies. Now, you might ask, what on earth are the core competencies? Well, they're very much part of the old style marking system, the core competencies, where you had to identify faults, analyse faults, and then remedy that fault, basically, and also prevent it from happening for a second time. So that's your core competencies, and that is very much still part of the new system, but it's disguised in a different way, and it's part of the risk management section. So if you again grab your marking sheet, so you'll see the standard check marking sheet, okay, and have a look at the middle section, which is the risk management, and you'll see that there's 5 competencies down there. Yeah, there's 5 sections for risk management. Now, the core ones that you're looking at are the 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so was the trainer aware of the surroundings and the people's actions? Was any verbal or physical intervention by the trainer timely and appropriate? And was sufficient feedback given to help the people understand any potentially safety critical incidents? So that is your core competencies, where you have to identify anything that's gone wrong. You have to then give some verbal or practical information. It might be an intervention where you've prevented something from going wrong, or maybe you've allowed something to happen and then you're going to have a wee chat about it. But inevitably you need to then work out why it's happened, and that's where the what, why and how come into it. So what was the fault, why did it happen, and the dangers and consequences to that, and then how are we going to prevent it from happening the next time. Yeah, another way of looking at that is see it, say it, sort it. Yeah, so if you see something, the only way the examiner knows that you've seen it is if you see it. You have to verbalise that. If you keep that in your own head, then he doesn't know that you've spotted it. So what happens quite a lot is people do see things, but they don't say it. Yeah, so therefore it goes down as it's been missed because you haven't said it. Yeah, you haven't mentioned it. So the examiner can only go on what he hears and what he sees. Yeah, so he can't see you spot something. Yeah, he can only hear you spot something. So you must see it. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. To identify a fault, if you see something, make sure you see it. Yeah, and then you need to do something about that. Yeah, you can't just leave it. Yeah, now in the real life world, when you're just doing normal lessons, and it could be that it's not quite related to maybe the lesson plan, and very often, you know, learning to drive is a bit of a marathon, so you can leave things until the next lesson. You know, in the real life world, that will happen. You'll say, oh, don't worry about that, we'll have a look at that next time we see you. Yeah, but let's just concentrate on this just now. Yeah, or maybe again you have that conversation with the learner where they might say, actually, do you mind if we just leave that till next time, and I want to concentrate more on whatever it is we're doing. Again, which is fine, it's great, not a problem. Yeah, but on the standard check, you have to ensure that learning takes place. So if you see something, the examiner's looking for you to do something about that. Yeah, and at the very least, you must have a conversation about it. At the very least, and it could be that you have agreed with the learner that you will leave it to next week, yeah, or another time. Yeah, but what's vitally important is you do something about it. You need to do something. So that's where the what, why, and how comes in. What was the fault? Why did it happen? What are the dangers and consequences to that happening? And then how can we prevent it from happening the next time? And there's various aspects to that, yeah. But if you don't understand why it's happened yourself, you can't then lead the learner to that solution. So it's very important that you watch the learner, because the only way to kind of suss out, yeah, what's happened is if you actually watch what the learner does. And more often than not, the PDI or the trainer sitting beside the learner hasn't been watching them, so they don't see what they've done. They don't actually see what's happened. So a fault has occurred, but they don't know why it's happened. And if you don't know why it's happened, your analysis might not be correct. You might then go down a different road because you haven't actually seen what they've done. So a very clear example of that is going too wide on a left junction. If you're emerging to turn left and then they go out a wee bit too wide past the centre line and then have to take it in. So a very common thing, but there's a very simple solution to that, and the thing is to work out why that's happened. So if you watch the learner, you will notice very often that they're looking at the nose of the car. Yeah, they look at the left-hand corner window. Yeah, of the windscreen, right in the corner. That's where they're looking, but that's not where the road is. The road is actually out the passenger side window. So if they're not looking to their left at where they want to go, then they're not going to go there. So what happens is they go out a bit too wide because they don't realise how much to steer. So positioning faults and steering faults are 90% related back to the eyes of where you're looking, and then 10% related back to speed, because the other side of that is they're going too fast to actually steer the car properly. And it's not too fast for the road, it's just too fast for them, yeah, because they can't control that. So they have to keep the car at a speed that they can control, and that obviously depends on what level they're at. So if it's at a very, very sort of early level, then they have to keep the car exceptionally slow, because they'll need to do that. Yeah, to actually position and steer the car properly, they need to be going very, very slowly. And if the slower they go, the easier it's going to be for them to then actually position the car and put it where they want to go. Yeah, but that comes again from looking. So you steer with your eyes. Your hands will follow your eyes. If you look where you want to put the car, then you will put it there. But the speed has to be correct as well. So that's again why something would happen. Yeah, so if, for example, they went a bit too wide coming out of that junction, what you would say, or I would say, would be, did you notice you went a bit too wide? I wouldn't say what happened there then. And that's where people kind of go a bit wrong. What happened there then? And the learner might say, I don't know. What? You know, they might not have realised that they've gone too wide. Yeah, or they might have. But the only way to find that out is to ask them. So, did you actually realise you went a bit too wide coming around that junction? Or coming out of that junction? You went out past the lines and then took it back in again. Oh, I did, yeah. What would be the dangers or consequences to that? Oh, I suppose a car could be coming the other way. Exactly, yeah. You could actually have a head-on collision. Yeah. So it's very important that we stay to our side of the road. How do you think you might do that? And they might say, I could steer more. Yeah, that's an option. You could steer more. But how would you know how much to steer? I don't know. I just have to turn the wheel. Okay, that's true. Yeah, you would have to turn the wheel, but how much? Because if you steer too much, you'll end up in the curb. Well, I don't know then, I'm not sure. Well, your hands follow your eyes. So if you look a bit further into the new road at the sort of middle to far distance instead of just the near distance, what you're doing is looking at the nose of the car. You're watching the kind of left-hand corner. So you're looking where you are going, but you're not looking where you want to go. So if you take your eyes and look a bit further ahead at where you want to go, guess what you might do? I might go there. Exactly, yeah, you might go there. Yeah. So next time, what do you think you'll do next time as you come to that junction? I'll look a bit further ahead and look where I want to put the car. Okay. Would you like a bit of help and support with that when we get there? And I could maybe prompt you to encourage you to look there. Or do you think you could do it by yourself? Maybe give me a bit of help and support with that. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, just to make sure I get it right. Okay, great. So when we come round, we'll go round again. When we get to that T-junction, I'll give you a couple of little prompts and I'll help you out with actually making that turn and see if we can actually position the car properly. Okay, great. So there's a wee example of how you would, spot a fault, analyse it and put in a remedy. Yeah, now there's various such things. It could be a cut in the corner, for instance. So, or even overshooting the corner is actually kind of more common than cutting the corner. Yeah, and a reason why people overshoot, especially in a major road turning right into the minor road, and there's oncoming traffic. So what they do, if you watch the learner, you'll notice that they'll watch the car coming towards them. And what they don't do is they don't look into the new road and they don't look for where the point of turn is. They just watch the car because they're thinking in their head, I'm going to go when that car goes past. So they're watching the car and they're looking behind the car and they're looking at the gap. But what they're not doing is glancing to the right to where the point of turn is. So they're slowing down, they've changed into first gear and they start rolling forward very, very slowly, waiting for the gap, waiting for the car to come past. Once the car goes past, they go to make the turn. But by that time, they've actually passed the junction. But they don't realise that because they haven't looked for it. Now you could prevent that if you're watching it. Yeah? And what I would do in that situation, I would say, don't go too far. Or not too far forward. Yeah? Or even, stop, that's far enough. Something like that. I'm going to prevent them from actually going too far because that is quite dangerous. If you end up overshooting the corner, then you might not be able to make the turn, and that can quite seriously affect things around you. Yeah. So even if it's clear, if you go to overshoot the corner, then you might not actually make it round, and you could, if they go and actually make the turn, you could be stranded right across the carriageway. And that's something that that's escalating too far basically. So what I would be doing is I would be preventing that. I would say, not too far, yeah, and then they might recognise to stop, and then I would get them to make the turn, and I would pull up afterwards and say, okay, so I had to kind of tell you to stop there. Why did I have to tell you to stop? Well, I don't know, I'm not sure. Well, if I hadn't told you to stop, we would have ended up going past the point of turn. Can you remember where the point of turn is? Yeah, it's a centre line of the new road. Okay, good, yeah, so you know what it is. If you don't look at it or look for it, will you see it? No, probably not, no. Okay, so we had that car that was coming towards us, and what you were doing is you were looking at that car. And again, I'm guessing that you were planning on going when that car went past, because that's what we did. Well, yeah, it was, aye. So if you only look at the car in front of you, where are you not looking? I'm not looking in the point of turn. Okay, so just like a T-junction, you look left and right. When we're turning right from major to minor, we look ahead and right. Yeah, because we need to make sure we're going to see where we're going to go next. So as well as watching the traffic coming towards us, we also need to make sure we're looking into the new road to look for the point of turn, and also any problems that might be there, because there could have been a parked car there. So had there been a parked car on our side of the road, when do you think you would have noticed it? Probably when I've made the turn. Yeah, probably when you made the turn. Absolutely. So would that be too late, do you think? Or would you have to sort of react to that? Oh yeah, it would be too late. What if a car was coming up the new road as well? You might have actually been stranded right across the carriageway. Oh yeah, I never thought of that. Okay, so next time, what do you think you might do next time? Well, I'll look both ways, yeah. I'll look for the point of turn, and I'll make sure I don't go too far forward. Okay, good, yeah. Would you like a bit of help and support with that? Or would you do it by yourself? Maybe give them a bit of help and support with it, and let me make sure I get it right. Okay, great. And again, you would do that. On the move, you would come in with some kind of help and support. And a wee prompt. You might say, as it approaches the junction, remember to look for the point to turn. It could be simple as that. Yeah. But the point being, you're identifying faults, you're analysing and thinking, well, why did that happen? And then you're putting in some kind of remedy. So that ties in with the 3 things on your marking sheet. Okay, and making sure again things don't go too far, because that's part of risk management. If it goes too far, then you've lost control. Yeah, so that's where prevention, you must prevent something from going too far. As mentioned in the last video clip, you have your safety parameter. Yeah, things must not go outside that safety parameter. Yeah, you must keep control of the vehicle at all times. Yeah, but there's a certain level where you can let things go a certain extent, yeah, but not too far. Yeah, only to create a learning environment. Yeah, but you must at all times keep the car safe. Yeah, and that's where again you're looking at your core competencies of what were the faults that happened, why did they happen, and how are we going to fix it the next time. And that's where, when by doing circuits, yeah, you start to do that. So if you're just randomly driving about, you're not really concentrating on certain things. So it's very important that you do small little sections. Yeah, do a sort of 8-minute drive. Excuse me. 8-minute drive, yeah, or something like that, 10-minute drive. You're doing a circuit, yeah, and you're picking up any faults on that circuit, and then you'll do that circuit again. Yeah, and that might you do it again as well, you know, just to kind of get it right. So they're improving it. As long as they're improving, they're not going to get bored. Yeah, and that's something people go wrong. They think that, you know, they're getting, what, just doing that circuit round and round and round. Well, you know, you could do it 3 times, turn around and do it the opposite way. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. You can do it the opposite way as well. So that keeps it a bit more interesting. But you're focusing and improving on the skills that are happening, and that's again the important thing, that learning actually takes place. Yeah, but yeah, you're going to have to look at what were the faults. Yeah, what was the fault? Why has it happened? And how we're going to fix it. Or see the fault, say it, yeah, suss it out, which is the why bit, yeah, and sort it, yeah. So the why is the most important. If you don't get the why bit right, then you'll miss the remedy. Yeah, it won't be correct. And that's where, again, you dig a little bit deeper into their thoughts. And that's where Q&A technique comes in, to lead them to maybe the answer. Because the chances are they won't magically just know. If they don't know something, then they don't know it. Yeah, you could relate it to something that they already know and try and lead them to an answer. Yeah, but that's something to bear in mind. Sometimes you might have to just give them the answer. It depends on your learner, but you're focusing on what they need. Yeah, and each time, again, you're adapting the lesson plan as well that way, because you're actually looking at adapting the level of instruction. You know, so adapting the level of instruction is adapting the lesson plan to suit their needs. Yeah, and that's really, what do they need? Yeah, that's very important. Do what they need. Help them. Yeah, help them work towards their learning goals. Okay, so I hope that helps. Yeah, core competencies: what, why, and how. Yeah, why being very important. Yeah, that's the analysis. Yeah, if you get the why right, the how kind of happens by itself. Yeah, but you need to know why it's happened. If you don't know why it's happened, then the learner's not going to know why it's happened. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. Okay, so thanks very much, and we'll see you again soon.